So, as always, I think we're going to start with a super professional intro here. I've seen the light go red, and I think I'm the first bloke to start talking.
As
So,
always.
Ferbs, how are you, my friend?
I am good. How are you going, buddy?
I am excellent, my friend. Excellent, my friend. And I see a third screen coming across my TV. So that
There
means
is
we
this
obviously
time,
have
mate.
someone here.
It's not your that voice that you had in your head last week. We have a very special guest all the way from the UK. I hope that's right, Mr. Cliche.
It is right. Well done, mate. Well done. And thanks for having us. Cheers, guys. Really appreciate
No
it.
problems. So Colin,
That was
aka
quite
Cliche of Digital
a
Car Culture.
professional start, man. That was quite a professional
Definitely.
start to a podcast. I dig that. Well done, man.
We're trying. We're trying,
no
mate.
professionals around here, mate. Just a couple of blokes that were unlucky enough to be able to afford a microphone. And, that's about it. Yeah. So I guess you could either start telling us a bit about yourself, or I can just run through where I met you. So I've met you out of Charlie Roscoe's Discord, and I've seen you post some stuff on my Instagram the other day regarding digital car culture. So what's that? What's that about?
So, where do I start with that? So the digital car culture, then, it's an online magazine for starters. So it's a bit niche in the sense that I've not come across anybody who's been doing anything like this, any magazines at all. And I'm from a generation who was brought up as a child in the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah, me too, mate.
So Max Power magazine, Fast Car magazine, that they were right in my wheelhouse. So I don't know whether you got those where you are, but in the UK, Max Power and Fast Car were these magazines for modded cars and the car scene, like cruisers, all that kind of stuff in the 90s. And I was having a beer one night, and it just hit me that there's nothing like that for the growing and emerging like online scene for cars. So I just ran away and I started a magazine. Simple as that, man. Simple as that.
Yeah. So what would we have? Did you have Street Machine, Ferbs? Were you a Street Machine kind of guy?
Oh, what did we had? Street Machine, Hot Fours, mate. Good old Hot Fours.
Yeah.
And I think like Colin was saying, you don't see sort of the magazine thing happening anymore. So when Inks had found you, and I was looking through your first issue that has just come out. We'll make sure all the links are down below. It's a bloody good read, mate, because I think people have forgotten how to read.
I agree, man. I agree, and thank you for that. I really appreciate that. It's been hard work, really hard work. But yeah, you don't see magazines. I mean, a lot of people really like the kind of just the instant here and now gratification of either Instagram or Twitter, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. And you do have areas like GT Planet, Overtake. You've got stuff out there which is happening daily. But what we don't have is that where it's on a Tuesday and you're thinking, you know what, I'm really looking forward to Friday because my favourite monthly magazine drops. So this is a bit of a throwback, bit nostalgia going on, I think.
No, it was a really good idea. I had a read myself, and a couple of things in there that I really liked to take us down on our first tangent, I guess, was one of the bits I picked up was digital car cruising, where you just hang out and go cruising. Like, I'm a car cruiser from way back. I used to spend every Friday, Saturday, and maybe even Thursday night, actually, grinding out 3 to 5 hours in my car, probably from like 7 p.m. onwards to the AMs until you run out of like maybe your second or first tank of fuel. Definitely the first tank, maybe on the second tank of fuel. And so I saw that in your magazine, like you're bringing that to, or some dudes were bringing that to the digital world.
That's
and
awesome.
I was amazed. I was like, that is, I wouldn't have even thought of something like that. So you've really picked up on, there really is a big culture out there. There's so much more. I'm stuck in my little racing channel, and just to flick through, like you said, the pages of a magazine and just see that there's so much more. Like, you always sort of feel that things like the Gran Turismo photo side of things was pretty big, but I didn't realize that extended to so many other games. And
But that's it, mate. I mean, I'm a bit of a jack of all trades when it comes to gaming. So I'd spent pretty much all of 2019 playing just GT Sport. That's all I played, just Gran Turismo Sport. And you realise that there is this this really cool like sim racing community of which I think we're all a part of. But then if you start going you scratch below the surface, even on the GT Sport stuff, as you said, you've got your scapes, you've got all these photographers, and Instagram is just absolutely littered with great shots where you can't even tell the difference most of the time between what's real and what's not, even when things are side by side. And people take a lot of time to get the lighting right and get the effects right, and people have a lot of pride in it. But even if you go into lobbies, there's a lot of stuff on the lobbies which you probably wouldn't realize unless you seeked it out. So there's a drag community, there's a drag culture in GT Sport. So people set up drag races. You've got pulls, so especially with special stage X, you've got people who just run at low speed and then they just do pulls. You've got drifting. There's loads of stuff there. And then my interest started to broaden to a load of different games, even like your Need for Speed Heats and your Cruise, your Project Cars 2s, Race Room. And although a lot of people are in their kind of smaller little communities, the purpose of digital car culture really was to bring all of that together to show people that we are all kind of connected digitally, in a sense. I mean, that sounds like I'm being quite grand and philosophical, and it wasn't. That was just a good idea for a few beers, if I'm honest. But it does still stand. It does still stand that there's loads of stuff that's going on there.
It's amazing what happens when you have a few beers, mate.
Yeah. But it also makes so much sense because, as you were saying, that experience of flicking through magazines, like I grew up in like the outer suburbs of Melbourne, and that's sort of like V8 territory. So, so we're all into big, heavy V8 sort of cars, and drag racing is sort of
it was your monthly fix, mate, to get the magazine every month.
Yeah, is the go-to. But then, like, you go into the newsagents, and there'll be like what you were saying, the magazines that mean a bit more to you. But we would have sort of Street Machine, which is your V8s, and then we'd have like Fours and Rotaries, which is like the imports.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so you'd see those magazines, and then you'd see there's another world in there, and then you'd click through that, or you'd get a special segment in a magazine, and you'd be open to a whole new world of a different style of car, and then there's a different thing happening, and then I was like, oh, well, maybe I like imports. And then so you sort of seek out those people, and then you meet a couple of people, and that introduces you to a few more people. And then before you know it, like, yeah, I turned in from like a drag person to a mountain cruising kind of guy, more into my handling cars. And
oh, nice.
And it was just interesting to flick through your magazine and just see that all that stuff is going on in the digital world as well. Yeah, you do have all those streams, and you have everything that you've said, from the car cruises to the races to the photo guys, the guys that are interested in. There was the movie makers. I think you had an article in there, movie maker. Yeah, like dudes doing cinematic stuff. And when you were just saying about different games there, with I think Crew 2 got a mention.
And your F1 review as well. That was a good read, and I think it's good that you're bringing in a lot of different sort of areas of just sim racing in general. Like, I think, like you were saying, like, it's just I mean, we do podcasts, we've got YouTube channels. It just seems to be the norm these days. Yeah. Whereas you're really sort of getting a bit of a niche going there, I reckon, which is it's a good thing.
And it also sparked my interest in a way that possibly like the Crew 2 thing I was thinking about. Like, if I watched a YouTube video and a Crew 2 video came up, I would probably just skip past that. But it was the article was interesting, and tonight I've been thinking about, like, do I try another game? And people that might listen to this
try another game. Come on, mate. We can't
know that I'm the one game person.
We can't just keep doing podcasts on Gran Turismo, mate. It's just not happening.
I'm not worried about the podcast things. I'm worried about I'm just a Gran Turismo fanboy.
I know you are.
I've got 2 games: it's Civilization and Gran Turismo. Anything outside of that, I don't know what it is.
But that's the thing. With GT Sport, like I said, I sunk about a year into GT Sport, and obviously the frustrations that I had, and probably ones that you guys have came across as well, just with dirty lobbies, and if you practice for FIEs, and then you're stuck with somebody who doesn't take it seriously, it can absolutely wreck all of your prep, penalty systems, all that kind of jazz. And although I've got a rig and I try to only play games behind the steering wheel, I just thought, you know what, I fancy a more chilled experience, especially a Friday night, few beers. I still want to be behind my wheel. I'm not going to be able to race. Like, what else is there out there? And you've got your Crew 2s, you've got your Need for Speed heats. There's other games, your open worlders, your Forza Horizons. There's games where you can just kind of get behind the wheel, have a beer, have a bit of a laugh, slide the car around. Yeah, and it brings all that kind of love together. Dirt 5, Dirt Rally, all that kind of good stuff. SnowRunner, I don't know if you guys not played SnowRunner. SnowRunner is phenomenal. Really slow game, which is insanely delightful.
I've heard a lot of good things about that.
Man, it's so good. But you've got your Euro truckers. There's guys on Euro Truck Simulator and American Truck Simulator who create these big convoys and drive for hours and hours and hours, just kind of abiding by the law, chatting as they go, in huge rigs. Apart from that, but there's a huge world out there, and I can't afford to do it in real life, which is why I've done it all behind a rig. That's kind of the key to it all.
Yeah, well, I can't. I can't recommend having to read enough. Like, that really made me want to remap the way that I treat my Friday nights. It was like, I've really just got to. I really have to find one of these open world games and just like, I've got a skyline, and I was like, in the game, I just need to build like my skyline and just like go cruising, like just hit the mountains.
Got skyline.
Yeah.
Oh, jealousy, man. I'm jealous.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to jump on before the prices went up. I just had
nice.
I did miss out on a classic Australian car. I had a price set that I would buy this. Well, it's called a VN Group A. I would buy that when it hit 20,000 Australian dollars, and it got down to like $21,000 was the cheapest I ever saw one for. And then they turned around and went back up. And I was like, if I ever find a GDR, I can't remember. I think I said 15 grand. If I ever find a GDR under 15 grand, I'm buying it. And probably within a month or two, I found one for like 14,990 or whatever. And so I went out and bought it instantly.
And by Skyline, R32, yeah?
Yeah, R32 GDR.
Oh, man, nice. Nice, real nice.
Yeah, so I was like, yep, I'm jumping on that one. I've already missed out once, so I'm not missing out again.
And that'll be making you money now.
Yeah, I think it's currently valued around 60,000. So
wow.
If you need me to drive it while you're still in New Zealand, just I'm happy to warm the engine up for you, mate.
Yeah, just give it a quick.
Where is it located?
Oh, do you want the address?
Yeah, that'd be great.
You want me to tell you where I keep the keys? So
you could do a podcast on wise investments by the sound of it, there, dude.
Yeah, 50-50. One I missed, one I got. So yeah.
You can build that in the Crew 2 or Need for Speed Heat, and you could have a ton of fun with a few beers, just riding around with your boys, man. And for the magazine as well, for the magazine, there is a huge shout out that I've got to do for your boy and mine, Charlie Roscoe, because with issue 1 there was also a concept issue which I launched before that. Just to see here, like, what is the software for the magazine? Like, how do you actually use it? I've never done this before.
Yeah.
If I create a magazine in this new digital age, will anybody read it? I have absolutely no idea how it will go down.
Yep.
But Charlie, to Charlie's credit, I came in with an idea saying, can you lay down an interview for us just to fill out a few pages, obviously, and with nothing other than an idea on a DM in Discord, he was all in. And then, did you read? I don't know whether you got the chance to read his Getting Started in Sim Racing, which he put down in issue 1. And It's a really, really good read. He's put a lot of thought and effort into that. And again, for nothing in return. There's absolutely nothing in return for him. But he's done a great job. So it is a big, big thank you and shout out to Charlie Roscoe. So if you don't know him, go and seek him out. He's a good guy.
Yeah, we'll have some links down for Charlie as well. And I mean that's just a credit to the sim community, I think. Like, I mean, there is a lot of toxic sort of stuff out there that we try and stay away from, but it's bloody good when you can just send a message to somebody and they're willing to help out with no strings attached, especially on something like this, because like I said, we haven't seen anything like this sort of hit the traps, and I really, really hope people can get on board and, you know, get onto your Discord and start learning how to read again, because we're all a bit dumb now, I think. It's just watching stuff all the time.
And that's it. I mean, it's trying to create a bit of a blend. So when sometimes I read through magazines, especially like the older ones, and yeah, you might read some stuff. You might just look at the pictures. Are the pictures nice and pretty and eye catching? So what I'm trying to do with the design of the magazine is to solve both of those things. So yeah, you might not be massive into Need for Speed Heat, but you'll appreciate the pictures. And if it does catch you, then obviously there's an article to read as well. You might just flick through to what's interesting you to read through, which might be the Sim Zone and all that kind of good stuff. But it does come to a big credit for the guys who've supported in their time. Another one's Jack McKenzie as well, who's from your neck of the woods, actually. He's in New Zealand. And he's he's going to be a real motorsport journalist in the future. He's phenomenal. He's got his own channel called Triple Crown Racing, and he does real life news reports and updates at a really, really high level of quality as well, which he does. And I reached out to him early doors when I was thinking about the idea of the magazine along with Charlie to say, how do you fancy doing some reviews? And he came straight in with Project Cars 3, and he's done the F1 2020. And in the future, he's going to be doing, he's going to review live events. So the Sim Grid, I don't know if you've heard of the Sim Grid, but they're a big Assetto Corsa community. I'm in talks with those guys as well about doing a feature with those.
Awesome.
And Jack, So David Perel, I mean, he's a ledge in our culture really, because he's such an ambassador for sim racing and drives and races in real life. But also super approachable guy, like really approachable. Sent him a message and he was straight back in touch to talk about it. So that's how I came across the Sim Grid, and they do some really, really cool high-level events, which we're going to start to feature. Jack's going to review them, and he's going to report on them, as you would on any other kind of motorsport. So Jack McKenzie as well as another guy I need to give a shout out to, because he's been a big supporter.
Yeah, that sounds so good. We were lucky enough to do an event with Perel via
thanks to
Kevin,
Rascal Kev.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that was such a nice bloke. We had just a social racing session with him, and it's such a top bloke. You could just chat to him, and it was just you wouldn't know you were. You know what I mean? Like, he's just a regular bloke having a chat, and so just so refreshing, and so positive about the sim racing community as well. He is, and like you said, just a real ambassador. So we'll have to look Jack up. That's a new name for me. So that's
Jack up.
That's what this is about: meeting new people and finding new people.
So what are you mostly sort of playing at the moment, Colin?
Well,
it's the go-to game.
I did drop a bit of cash on the amplified version of Dirt 5, which launched about a month ago. So
I got that one too.
Yeah, I'm syncing. Hello.
Yep, I've still got you.
Still there?
Yeah. So I'm syncing a bit of time in that one.
I was going to say that looks like it's flatlining on my side.
Flatline.
Can you still hear us?
All right, I will stop because we can continue. All right, we're away again. All right.
We're away. So what am I playing at the moment? So I just dropped a bit of money on the amplified version of Dirt 5. So spent a bit of time on that. And then yeah, it's a bit of everything. If I'm honest with you, a bit of the Crew 2, a bit of Snow Runner, a bit of Need for Speed Heat. There's nothing I'm sinking like all of my time in. Just depends on how I feel on the day, really. I need to get back to track racing because although I did spend a lot of time on GT Sport and I've drifted away from it. You always get that itch to be back on track. So there's definitely a bit more GT Sport to be done. But reading Charlie's article about getting into sim racing, and I downloaded Race Room, which is free for 5 tracks, 5 cars. It's free, decent physics. So I'm having a little blast on that. That's pretty decent. But one of the things I think I might have to get in the future is in our second issue, we're covering a little bit of CarX Drift, and that looks like a load of fun.
I've heard a little bit about that, yeah.
Yeah, that is getting pushed heavily by my friends group outside of sim racing. Yeah, like I've got at least half a dozen friends that are like, oh, dude, you've got to like ditch that and come over to drifting. Come over and start drifting with us.
Oh, man.
And it's like
terrible at drifting. I'd have to do that on controller, but I can't do it on a wheel.
But they reckon its steering wheel is where it's at. They reckon the stories I'm hearing is it's the next thing that's going to blow. Yeah, they reckon the looks, the way that the cars handle is like spot on. This is what I'm told. I haven't had a go yet.
We're gonna have Pro Drift Series cranking along, mate, soon. Esports.
Yeah, well, apparently they're all jumping in rooms and doing team tandems and team drifting and seeing if they can all run door to door. And apparently it's apparently A, it's difficult. B, it's fairly realistic, and apparently the mods and the looks of the cars are getting pretty serious too. So you can make it look like a full drift pig. And
is this more stuff I have to buy? So I got to get a PC next because I'm having withdrawals from ACC and Joe and phone on now playing on the PC.
Yeah,
because the PS4 version just doesn't cut it, unfortunately.
I've always said I'd be the last guy playing GT Sport, and I'm gonna.
You will be. That's when you become the champion of the world.
That's what I'm going to go world champion, mate. One out of one. I have to beat no one.
Have your own world tour. Just you, mate. Time trial.
Yeah. 2030 GT Sport World Champion. Heard it here first.
But yeah, CarX Drift. I think that's going to be one that I need to pick up. It's getting a load of love out there. So, and as you said, it's meant to be very, very good on the wheel. So most games, if you're going to drifting, you tend to think, oh, I'll stick the joypad on. But not with this. It's all about the wheel. So that's the one that's kind of right in my wheelhouse at the moment.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too. Like just and door to door slamming too, so you can like get up on them and touch their doors, and you can feel it all, and it's like someone has put a lot of time and effort.
Your sim rig, yep.
Give it the wave.
Get a smoke machine in your room and fans and shit.
Yep. Do some. I wonder if Mad Mike's on there. He's a bit of a local legend out here in NZ. So
yeah, you never know. You never know.
Nah, not at all. So you're thinking that could be the next game on the cards?
I think it's going to. I think it will be. I think it's going to have to be.
Yeah.
It looks so. Honestly, it looks so good. I follow a few guys on Twitch who stream it, so it's been in me head for a while. So I asked somebody who I know has been playing it recently to do a feature for us for the next issue, and then seeing that feature come back in, having a bit read through. It's like, that's where it's at. It's not particularly expensive, I don't think either. I think it's relatively cheap, digital copy only. But I always see that, and that's the thing. I tend to want to do some streets and pulls. I want to do a bit drifting. I want to do a bit track racing. So it's about trying to find the kind of the ideal games for each of the different categories that I'm kind of right into. Never ever become an expert in any of them.
No,
it was right at the bottom. But it's just about having fun, man. About having fun.
Oh, well, that's what it's all about. Being able to play as many as possible. I mean, that's my motto. Anything with wheels, mate, I'll give it a go. I bought bloody monster trucks on PS4, and I mean that's the worst game I've ever played, but I still sat there and loved every minute of it. So
Maybe you should do
Still
a feature
enjoyed
for
it.
that.
Played harder.
monster truck.
I was going to say, yeah, Ferbs is your
Do a
man.
feature?
Get
Yeah,
him to
go
write the
Ferbs.
No.
article.
Don't do a feature on that, mate. It'll be like 2 lines. Save your
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, do not buy.
I play the games that people shouldn't buy, mate.
Well, that's your angle then. There's the angle. There's a monthly feature in there. Ferbs
Yeah,
games not to buy.
Yeah.
Save.
Ferbs game of the month that you shouldn't have bought.
Oh, I've got a few. Yeah, I've got a good drift one that I played, mate. I think it cost me $9 on the PlayStation Network. It was terrible.
I think we found your call card there, Mr. Ferbs. If we don't
Oh,
see the
there you go.
article in future
Yeah.
episodes, I'm going to be extremely disappointed.
Oh, well. So the issue releases, is that sort of going to be a monthly thing or a
Yeah.
done when it's done kind of thing? Or
For the concept issue, it was just kind of a done when it's done. I was just like messing about on a night.
Yep.
And like I said, I didn't think anybody would. I thought people would like it because it's quite niche. I didn't know whether anybody would actually read it. So once I put the concept issue out, and then I got some phenomenal feedback. I really did. People just absolutely loved the idea, the concept, the design. As you said, nobody's doing this at the minute. So I was straight into issue 1, and then with issue 1, I thought it's got to be a monthly, and I've got to set deadlines. So in real life, I'm a project manager, so a lot of this kind of stuff comes natural to us, as in being able to plot for your month ahead. Where do I want to be? What's your steps backwards? So it becomes quite natural to me to be able to kind of to create a magazine. Also, getting people into support and to delegate and all that kind of jazz. That's part of what I do in real life as well. So it's got to be a monthly, but with a monthly and with it being twice the size of what the concept is, came with a bit of stress. To be honest, a bit of extra work. Yeah. I stopped streaming, so I've not streamed for a few weeks now because of the work you have to put in the magazine. But from what is clearly still obviously a hobby, it does feel as if if I fast forward a year's time, it could be pretty big. It could really be pretty big. It's about the issue is trying to crack distribution. I think the content, the look, the feel, and that will evolve. So I think every time we drop a new issue, we'll get feedback back as we do. I think maybe tweak this, maybe change that. I could do with this type of a look, and that will just naturally evolve. But cracking distribution in a digital world is really, really tough because there's just so much content out there, and I'm trying to put in front of people a magazine, a digital magazine, when people are used to watching videos and 30-second TikToks and all that kind of jazz, that instant gratification. And I'm trying to say, hold on, sit back, relax, and read a magazine on your phone. It's a hard thing to crack, but once people do, they seem to really, really enjoy what we're putting out there.
Yeah. So once you make it a habit.
Colin, what's the sort of outlets for you for getting the magazine sort of out? Like what sort of avenues are there? I mean, because with podcasts, it's we can put it on Spotify, etc. What options do you have to be able to grow it more?
But not many, unfortunately. So the key one is socials. So what you do with a magazine is you need to really grow from a solid platform and base, and that platform and base needs to be your own. So it needs to be either a website or it needs to be an app. So if you look at all the other, even like huge successful magazines, they all kind of root back to a single location and not like a general platform like a Spotify or a SoundCloud or what you can do with audio. It all normally comes back to a single piece. So for a lot of magazines, it comes back to like a website, Great Magazines, who own all the magazines that's in there, or it could be on Kindle. So it could be through Amazon, but then you've restricted where else you can put it if you put it through Amazon. So the way that I'm tackling distribution is through our grassroots culture and using things like Discord. So I've been in these communities for a good couple of years, in tons and tons of different communities for tons and tons of different types of games as well. Cause that's what I'm interested in. So it's about trying to create relationships in these networks. And through that, when you drop something into a Discord, then people are going to hopefully click on it. There's Instagram and there's Twitter, which digital car culture is only just grown now. It's really, really small numbers. And then the kind of the wastelands and the Wild West, which is Reddit. So Reddit is a strange one. Every game has got a passionate Reddit page with thousands and thousands of people in there. And when you drop something in, you don't know whether it's going to go well or you're going to get a ton of hate, because there is some hate in the Reddit world, absolute hate. So
that's where the cool kids hang out, mate. That's too much. That's Reddit's too much for me, man. I don't understand it.
But you can get some eyeballs, but it all has to point to your base, which is the website. So I'm going to plug the website right now, which is www.digitalcarculture.com. So if you go along to there and you click subscribe, then you'll be on the mailing list. And then every time an issue drops, then that'll get sent straight to your inbox. And it's about building that subscriber list. Once you can build up your base,
done that.
You know that there's people. Oh, thank you very much, dude. You know that there's people who are interested in it. You know that it's going to have a high click response rate. And then what you've got to do on top of that is just keep on building through the usual channels. And what I think it'll be is, I think there might be 6, 7, maybe 8 months of just relatively modest growth. But I think there'll be a point which it gets to when it becomes runaway, and it starts to take off, like exponential growth, based upon, I don't know, getting the right article or the right person involved to support or whatever. So it's hard. It really is hard, and the numbers are modest, but the feedback has been phenomenal. So you've got to then challenge yourself to make sure that it's not just replicating every month, because people get bored. You need to make sure that it evolves and the visuals become better and tighter and varied. So that's what it's all about, really.
Yeah, well, definitely. I was on the subscribe list, and that was important for me to get to talk to you, like, so that we could share.
Thank you so much, man. That means a lot. That means a lot.
Yeah, it's just like this whole community. It's sometimes there's a bit of butting heads between a few of the people, and trying to break down some of those walls is sometimes difficult.
That's another good point as well, Paul, because that's what you find if you're a content creator. So if you're doing YouTube or Twitch, I feel the Twitch community is a bit better than the YouTube one with regards to supporting each other. I do feel there's a lot of support in Twitch, but you're right. Everybody's kind of everybody is trying to grab the eyeballs. The difference with a magazine is that the content of it is the community's content. It's not mine. So you don't pay for the magazine. There's no commercials involved. The stuff that's in it hopefully drives people to those people who are creating the content. So your Charlie Roscoe's, hopefully Charlie gets a few eyeballs because of that, which means that, especially in the Discord, what I do in the Discord is, if there's a cool event on that I see, I advertise it, just because the community may be interested in watching. So it turns that kind of relationship around as being more community-centered, like by the community, for the community. And that's cheesy. That is cheesy, but it is true. I'm not trying to kind of hoard all these eyeballs for my own. I'm trying to push all this stuff out so that the community enjoys it, and then once a month they come back to the magazine to see what else is going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's how it should work. Scratch each other's backs, I guess you could say.
Absolutely.
I think people's egos just need to be put aside, and I mean, like you said, you could put up a link to someone that people have never heard of, and they have a click, and whether it be a magazine, podcast, video, whatever, and people could end up enjoying that.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what it's all about, man. Just getting information out, I reckon. We love sim racing. I mean, this is why we do the podcast, and because we like to just dribble shit anyway. And if one person listens to it, we don't care. I mean, we're having a good time just doing this, and probably going to be the same for you, Colin. Like, just keep working at it, mate. We're on board with you, mate.
Nice one, man.
We'll plug the crap out of it for you, mate.
Cheers, boys. Cheers, boys. That's what I like to hear.
And that's what I was saying, or what I was trying to lead to earlier. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Like, so when you read those articles, and you might read it because you're into this part of sim racing, and then you flick a few pages down and you see something else, like what I was saying about that Heat 2 stuff earlier. It's like, whoa, there's a whole side of this area that I didn't know before, and that might take you to the next level. That might be the thing that you're looking for.
Or it could lead you down a dark hole, mate. I mean, if you do,
I was going to say,
if you do remember, mate, for some reason, a lobby night with a few of the fellas, we did end up in a lobby in GT Sport playing cops and robbers, and I didn't know what the hell was going on.
No,
I didn't know why this was happening.
You just got to run with it though, because
I had to go with it. Had to pull some people over. I want my time back. That's all I want.
No, but that was that's what I mean. That's off the cuff. That's you don't know what's going to happen, and that is the communities that are out there, and just games and gaming, mate. It's I remember the parents. Yeah, what's that? What's playing that game going to lead your life to? Well, it's a lot more interesting than the life I could have lived. That's for sure.
Oh, mate, it just gets better, Inks. Just gets better, buddy.
Don't even start me.
GT7, mate. You'll be right.
GT7, right. I'm coming for you. What if I stopped doing time attack, mate? That would be outrageous.
Oh, it would just open up a whole new world for you, mate. What happens if you actually pushed eject on your PS4 and inserted another disc in there?
I assume the eject button doesn't work, mate. I don't think it's ever been trialed. We might have to test that button.
Well, you need to keep reading this magazine, mate, so you can, get sucked into playing some other games. So
hey, I almost got Gran Turismo 1 running tonight, mate. So don't worry about it.
But it still says Gran Turismo in the name, mate. We need to get you out of Gran Turismo.
Need something different. I've played Forza once.
Great game.
Life on the edge.
Oh, mate. Yeah. Getting the Xbox into a PlayStation household, mate. You know how hard that is? Walking in with a white box when it's a black box sort of house.
Got to have them all, mate.
Looks like pretty. Pokemon, mate. Collect it all.
Got to collect them all.
Yeah, well, that's sounding a lot like we're turning to dribble. So
we do. So plug away, Colin. Any other people we need to check out? I'm going to make sure that we put links down the bottom anyway, so people can find you and your great magazine, which I'm going to look forward to reading every month. So plug away, mate.
Cheers, man. Definitely check out some early supporters, as in Charlie Roscoe and Jack McKenzie. They've put in a lot of time and effort into making this kind of beer-fueled thought into something which is dropping into people's inboxes with no ask back. I mean, that's the key there. They didn't ask for anything in return. They just got straight on board. So a big thanks to those two guys. And for the plug for the magazine, it is a monthly magazine. It covers, maybe I should have started with this, but it covers all racing and driving, games and sims, every part of the universe. If you can drive it, then we're into it. That's what it's all about. And there's some stuff in there you're going to love. There's some stuff in there you're not going to be so interested in, and there's some stuff in there that you're going to find for the very first time, and it might take you down that rabbit hole. But if you want to get this as it drops each month, at the end of each month, then visit www.digitalcarculture.com, sign up and subscribe. And if you want to be involved in it as well, this is the key one, because as I said, this is a community-driven kind of project. I'm always looking for people to contribute. So whether that is photographers or cinematographers, if this is people who want to write articles or reviews, if this is people who are doing something a little bit weird, a little bit wacky, a little bit different, like your cops and robbers guys out there, and it should be featured, then get in there. Get in there. And put feature in. There's so much to cover. And the best way to do that is you can do it through the website. But if you get into a magazine, there'll be a link to our Discord, and that's where all the action happens. That's where people are chatting and talking about thoughts and ideas and ways to move forward. So get involved as well. And I really mean that. I really need people, because it is a community-driven thing. I need people to get involved and do some writing, because I cannot write at all. I'm more of a pictures person. So I like to do the front page and the back pages. That's it. The rest of it has to come from the community. So get involved, please. That would be
I'm
awesome.
definitely going to put the pressure on Furby. I definitely want
No, stop it.
racing games. Racing games you don't need to buy. Racing games you don't need to buy. So every one game a month that no one needs to buy.
Okay, hit me up, Colin.
You would only need one paragraph, surely. Surely one paragraph's not too much.
Just a little box in the corner.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Games you didn't need to buy this month. Bang. There it is.
Let's do that then. Let's do that for issue 2, Furby.
I so want that to happen. If that's not in the next episode, we're not doing this right.
You send me some messages, mate. We'll chat after, Colin.
We'll
get it going for sure. But thank you so much for coming on, dude. We really appreciate it, man. Glad Inks found you. Appreciate your time for having a chat. And anything else you want to add, Inks or Colin?
Just make sure you hit that website, hit the subscribe button, and read it all.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, boys. It's been a blast. Thank you, and no doubt you'll be looking at 12 o'clock, is it? Midnight coming up for you guys? You'll be wanting to hit the heat.
Yes.
It's only 10 o'clock for me, mate.
Is it?
I was going to say the nightclubs are just opening, mate, so it's time to turn around and go back out.
Well, enjoy that, pal. Have a good work.
Enjoy your day at work. The future is pretty awesome.
Cheers, boys. Cheers, boys. Take care.
Catch you, mate.
I'd see you, lads.